Welcome, paint partiers. Welcome to Liza's Painting Parties. I'm Liza, and we are here live to paint this beautiful sunset bridge image this week. So for anyone who hasn't joined before, welcome. What I do here is every week on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I paint from a reference photo or image, and I share with you how I would approach recreating that image as my own. And if you like to join in with me, you are more than welcome to, and it's very fun. Or you could be watching this, of course, at any other time that's convenient for you. So all of the videos that I record and do here are always available on the Facebook page under the videos tab, and also on my YouTube channel under Liza's Painting Parties, so you can watch them at your convenience if now is not the best time for you to paint, but you really want to try to recreate this beautiful photo. You can definitely follow along at any time it's convenient for you. So this photo here is was taken by Michael Lyons. So that's Michael Lyons Photography. So I've been in collaboration with him for the last couple of months. So I've been sharing his photos and painting from them. I love this picture so much, and I'm so happy this is the one that was chosen this week. I love how bright and colorful and happy, and I have no idea how someone can capture something so beautifully in a photograph. I'm so excited to be able to recreate this in acrylics. So that's what we'll be doing today. And what I'll do is, this is the first time that I'll be recreating this photo, so I'll walk you through my process as how I'm going to be doing it. And if you find that helpful, fantastic. If you have your own tips and tricks, feel free to make a comment and let me know that. Also, let me know where you're tuning in from as well if you're going to be joining me today. I'm here in Ontario, Canada, just outside of Toronto, in a place called Ajax. And it's really beautiful. The weather is nice and cool, but like nice and sunny and beautiful. Yesterday we had like a intense rainstorm, thunder and lightning, and it was intense, but it was nice to be like cozy at home. So that was always good. Anyways, so to paint along with me, I'll go through what supplies I'll be using. So what I have is I use a canvas board. It's an 11 by 14 canvas board. You can use that if you like, or you can use any particular canvas you so desire to recreate it. I also have paintbrushes. I usually recommend having 3 sizes of paintbrushes. A large one, and for this size canvas I'm using a size 10. A medium size is a size 4. I also have a size 2 that I like to use back and forth depending on what I'm doing. And this is a fine brush. This actually looks kind of thick right now, but when there's water it gets quite fine. It's a size 4, but it actually gives me a nice fine point with it. So whatever works for you. I just think like having at least a little bit of variety. If you have tons of others, at dollar store you can get a pack of like 5 or 7 brushes for like $2.50 or something. So feel free to like grab something like that, and just whatever you get comfortable with is what I suggest. There's nothing like, there's no right or wrong way to do any of this. There's some like easier techniques and tips and tricks, but really it's having fun and enjoying the process. In terms of the paints I use, I also use dollar store paints. So if you have your primary colors, so if you have yellow, blue, and red, and if you have black and white, you can make any other color from that. That being said, when you get the colors, try to get them as like middle of the road as possible. So blue, for example, can come in many different varieties. There can be like a really dark blue. There can be, this one is like a tropical blue. So try to, when you get like, if you're getting like standard basic colors that you want to mix from, go for something more in the middle ground. This one here, I think it's called peacock blue, and I feel like it looks more like a true like blue color. This red is called bright red, but I also like Christmas red. It's a little bit darker. And this yellow is also called bright yellow, but it really doesn't matter as long as you have something more middle of the road. And then also you can always have pre-mixed colors too if you so desire, and I do sometimes dip into that as well. And I'll talk through when I'm using what color and how I'll be going about that. Also, I have paper towel and water. So acrylic is water-based, so water is your friend most of the time. And I have a palette which I'll use to like keep the paints on and to mix as necessary. I usually mix often on my canvas, so you'll see that process when I go through it, and I'll talk through that as well. This paint party is completely free, So if you're watching, you're right where you need to be. You don't need to click any other links or go anywhere else. You are perfectly where you should be. If you did want to leave me a tip, there's a link there. It's called Buy Me a Coffee, and you can feel free to do that if you would like to. You absolutely do not have to, but obviously it's always appreciated. If you are enjoying these and you would like to have your own paint party, a virtual one, or if you're in the Toronto or Greater Toronto area and you want to do an in-person party, feel free to reach out and DM me, and then we can talk about what that looks like. I've done quite a few, and they're always a really fun time. So we can talk about what that looks like to see if it meets your needs. Okay, that's pretty much the flow of things here. Oh, I should say too, anyone who hasn't joined before, the way this works is every Saturday I put up 3 options on the Facebook page. And lately they've been photos by Mike Lyons, because they're just beautiful. The one that has the most votes by the following Tuesday at noon is the one that I paint live here on the Wednesday evening. So that's how the flow goes. So I announce the winner on Tuesday at noon in a post. So what you can do is if you're going to be painting along with me, I will end up moving the camera so you can see the canvas and the inspiration image more clearly, and you don't have to see me the whole time. But if you would prefer, you can always go back to the post from yesterday and you can grab a screenshot or just save the image so you have it as reference as you're painting. I know for me, I like to have something closer for my own proximity to reference to. And the way we're going to approach this is we're going to approach it step by step and having fun with it. So that is the spiel. We'll get started in a few minutes. I think right now it's 6 o'clock, which is good. And I'm anticipating this will probably, I don't know if it'll take us the full 2 hours, but I usually like to schedule 2 hours just to be on the safe side whenever we're doing a session together. Sometimes, I don't know, there's a lot of like nice movement and color. I think depending how specific we want to get in all the detailing, that will end up taking, but sometimes it's more enjoyable to capture the feel of the painting as opposed to making it exact and precise. But really it's up to you how you want to approach it. So I encourage that 100%. And for me, I'm definitely going to have a lot of fun playing with the color and like the movement in the picture. So I love the way the sky has this like sweeping vibe to it. Like the lines are all kind of moving upwards in the blue area, and you see a lot of really nice movement. So I'm going to have fun with that and play with it. I am going to still stay similar, so you'll still know that I painted this image when I'm done. But I do want to take some creative liberties and have some fun with the painting with that. So I'll talk through again my approach. Also, you can always just watch what I do, and then if you decide it's not for you, that's totally fine too, and you can again do your own. If you are painting along though, please snap a picture and share it, because I absolutely love to see everyone's creations. That is the most fun part, and I definitely encourage you to check out other people's creations of other previous paint parties. And if you enjoy, there's many other paint parties available. This is number 81, so there's tons of other videos that you can watch. All right, so let's get started. First, for anyone with long hair, good to tie it back. So I'm going to do that first, and then we're going to get started. So with this particular image, I would say that what I think about first is I think about where I want to position things on my canvas, and how I want the proportions to be. So I don't, in this situation, I wouldn't sketch or draw anything out on the canvas. I often don't, but I just want to take a look and just like think about how big each section is going to be. Also, when I say that, I always start with whatever's furthest back. So what we're going to start with when we first paint is we're going to paint this beautiful sky, and then after painting that sky, we're going to fall down into this water and start playing out the water, and then build the land, and then have, you know, the land in the back and so forth, right? So we'll build it layer by layer, starting with whatever's furthest in the back. But at this point, what I want to do is I want to think about, in relation to the canvas, how big that sky is going to be and how big the water is going to be. So when we look at our inspiration image, the base of the image is actually, maybe like here actually. And so midway comes to about there. So our sky spans more than halfway of the painting, right? So when we're going to eyeball it, I'm going to say my sky is going to go until about like here, more or less. So I just put a little marker just visually for me to keep that in mind. So when I'm painting the sky, I'll stop kind of where I want it to be. I'm okay with it going a little bit further down. That's fine, because we can always have other things layer on top, and that works out totally good too. But just to keep that in mind. So yeah, so that's how we're going to start it off. Now, when I'm doing the sky, there's going to be a few things. So I'm going to paint the entire sky, and then later I'll layer the bridge on top of it. So we're not going to worry about the placement of the bridge at all right now. The other thing is I'm going to work fairly quickly when I'm doing the sky, because I want to get everything blended while the paint's still wet. So I'm going to be doing a lot of like wet on wet blending as I go. But like I said, I'll talk through how that's going to look, and then we can build from there. Okay? So without further ado, I'm going to move my camera over and down. I'm getting some weird reflections happening. So there's like really beautiful sun coming in from my window, and it's getting some weird reflections on my iPad, that's for sure. All right, well, we'll see what we can do about that. So not professional settings. Don't know if you guys can tell that, but clearly I'm sitting down on the ground in my spare bedroom painting for you. All right. Hi, Janine. Yes, there will be a replay. So all the videos are always available under the videos tab on my Facebook page, and also on my YouTube channel. So this will be available so you can watch it whenever it's convenient for you. Absolutely. All right, so let me move you over. Is that better or worse? There's a big light right in the way. Holy baloney. All right, we still get the vibe. Like I said, I'm going to get weird glares happening because that's the nature of what's happening. So you can always go back to yesterday's post and take a look or grab that image to have that as reference as we go, because glare is going to be our life, I think. I'll try to... Ooh! All right. Now I just can't move. I gotta stay like that. Okay, it's working. It's working, guys. Yay! Okay, perfect. Fantastic. Now, I'm going to start with my big brush right here. And I'm going to start by getting just the water, my water container, which is nice and clean. And I'm going to just wet my canvas. That's going to be my first step. And when I'm doing this process, I want it to be damp. I do not want it to be soaked. What this will do, this will help blend the paint and get really good coverage on the canvas right off the hop. Depending on where you are in the world and your climate, your acrylic paint can dry very quickly. Sometimes it's just if your air conditioner is going. Like I have a air conditioner grate right behind me, and so I find my paint can dry quite fast. So just to keep that in mind. So what I often do, particularly because I'm using a canvas board, is I dampen it and then I use the paper towel to take off the excess moisture. If you're using an actual like proper stretched canvas, the water will soak in more, so you won't really have to dab it off. But on the board, that's what happens. All right. So where are we going to start? I want to start with the blue. Some people would go and put your light and like build up. I want to start with the blue, and I'm going to work my way down. So I'm going to put a big old glob of blue paint. I'm going to need more than that. Nah, let's not be too crazy. And then I'm going to put a little bit of white, and I'll show you my palette in a moment once I get some other paint on there. And I think I'm going to go right away and put some red because I definitely want to get some purples going. And then I'm going to put some yellow. Okay, so this is what I have at the moment. Big old glob of blue, which I'm probably going to need more of. A little bit of white, some red, and some yellow. And that's just to get the purples, because the red and the blue will make that purple, the yellow, and then the red and the yellow will make the orangey colors. So I'm just going to start to have it ready to go on there. So the way I'm going to start is we're just going to break the seal, get that blue on the canvas. So let's just go. I'm just going to start, and I want to start doing it in this like sweepy motion, just to start getting this vibe happening. Nice. So let's just get this blue paint on the canvas. I'm going to try to remember to paint the sides of my canvas as I'm going. Just doing that as we start. Especially when you're using an actual canvas, it's always good to get that happening. Okay, let's get this blue happening. Now, if you're using, again, I'm using dollar store paint, this blue is actually quite thin in comparison, so perhaps I didn't need to put the water down for this blue. Some other times it's a lot thicker, so it's nice to use the water to wet it out. But with this one, I'm realizing that it's actually quite thin. And I might actually want to do 2 coats just to really get that blue to pop. So it's not going to be super easy. So I need to let it dry first. When you're doing coats, you need to give it time to dry. If you have a hair dryer as well, some people use hair dryers, very smart. You can definitely do that. That suits my lack of patience. Hi Kim, I'm glad you're joining. Yay. Just watching right now, that's great. I know there's quite a few people actually who do that. They'll watch first and then they'll join in later, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Again, with my approach, like I said, I haven't painted this before. So it might turn out really bad. No, I think it's still gonna turn out good. But yeah, it's still good to see like what you want to do and how you want to approach it. I think that's still very smart. And then you might not have the time or the capacity right now, so it's good to like check in and like go from there. All right, I'm gonna start just playing, and I'm gonna throw red right away and start getting some stuff happening because I want to play with color today. I'm so excited to get these different variations happening. I'm gonna throw red in. Going back and forth and getting some red into my blue, which is creating purple. Again, that bridge is going to cover a lot of this, but I want to get this sweepy vibe, and then we can layer on some of the clouds and the other textures that we have happening. Need some white though too, because I want it to start lightening up a bit. Yes. Ooh, white. You make things look so pretty sometimes. So I just dabbed with white, and I'm just bringing it into this mix. Oh yeah, baby. Sweepy and pretty. Oh my gosh. Alright, I want to make it... You see there's like a little bit of like this lighter blue thing happening here. So I want to put in some white like here somehow. Let's lighten this area up. And everything's still pretty wet with my blue. This reminds me of the very first painting we did on the paint party. It was like a beautiful sky that had this kind of like sweepy vibe to it. Oh, it was so fun. I just went back to get some more blue because I want to just darken some of these areas up. Really pretty play on colors here, which is great. Although I did notice, like, there's like this weird, like, burst of cloud, like, smoke here. There's been a factory happening. It looks like a weird explosion happened. I don't know if I'm going to paint that in, to be honest. It's kind of weird. I don't really like that. I want it to stay, like, flowy and fun, not like a weird explosion happened somewhere. A little bit more white here. It's starting to dry up a bit, so I want to work quickly. Okay. Oh, I need you to come back. Thank you. All right. All right. Let's now clean out that brush, because I want to go in and put in my bright yellow at the bottom and start bringing it upwards a bit. This is pretty dry, like the bottom here, so I kind of left it that way. And I thought it was funny. I thought that was like the sun, but it's actually like a lamp post in the background, which is kind of cool. When I first saw it, I was like, ooh, it's the sun. And I was like, wait a second. No, it's not. How cool are you? Little deceptive sun. Okay, so I'm going to, so this is essentially where my horizon is going to be. So realistically, that's where all the buildings and stuff are going to sit. So I need to bring this higher than what we see in our image. It's a bit bigger on the side, and then it okay. So I want to get some red. Now, it is actually a little bit orangey, a little bit behind some of the buildings here. So I'm going to put some red right here. I'm going to get some more yellow and just go back and forth a little bit. So that's very pretty, but that's just like at that edge right there. Hi, Joe! Oh, my voice just like weirdly cracked there. Okay, I'm back. And then there's some like orangey red happening here. So let's pop that over here. Let's get more yellow. Blendy, blendy, blendy. Some really pretty colors happening. Okay, and I do want it to get a little bit more intense in some spots. More purplish here, but start with the red. I'm gonna touch the, I just don't want it to be green, which that's the trick when we have yellow and we have blue. Getting close. We don't want green, but in this situation, I don't want green. I mean, there may be other times that it might work out to our benefit. As of right now, no thank you. No green, no green. Do, 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 do. Okay, some more red. Oh, this one's so much fun! I love the color so much! Okay, so I want to make a little bit of purple. So I'm just mixing some blue and some red on my palette before I pop it on. I want to get this a little bit more intense. I definitely still want some white. Oop, that may be too much actually. Gonna go back and get some more red and blue. With some purple on here, please. There we go. Okay. Ooh, yes. So I'm not mixing with water, just I want to make sure that's clear. If you use water to try to like blend it, it's not going to work. It's just going to become like a ooey gooey, watery mess, and we don't want that. You want to just keep using the paint. And if you want it a little bit lighter, or you need to blend it into something, you need to look and see the colors that you're using, and then you need to use the paint to help with the blend. If we use, like I said, if we use water at this point, water will not be your friend at this point. So don't use water. Again, unless someone has a tip or a trick and they're like, no, water can be used in this capacity, cool. But from my experience, water and this time of blending is not my friend. So I'm just gonna keep going with the paint until I get kind of what I want. So there's like a darker cloud, kinda. Cloud? Yeah, sure. I don't know. I want to put it in here. Oh, this is so fun. Cool. Oh, thanks, Kim. I am excited. I love it. Again, it still blows my mind how like someone can capture all these colors in a photograph. I'm like, you gotta have like touched it up or something. Like, how did you get all these things coming out? Like, just even if you had like I don't even know how to do that. So I'm still super impressed, regardless. That's a nice dark area there. Ooh, a drying extender. That is pretty cool. So I guess you mix that in with your paint so it stays wet longer, I'm assuming. That's neat. Alright, so we have, I'm digging it. Still seeing like some of the darker colors that I had put on before. So I'm just gonna put in another layer to kind of get rid of it, kind of. I don't want that to overshadow my bright yellow. Literally no bright yellow. I want to get it a little bit higher on this side. really have to on that side, I guess. But... Okay. Cool. I think that's looking neat. And then I'm going to put some orange. I'm just mixing some of my yellow and some of my red. A little bit, just so I can get some more purposeful lines. Like an orangey kind of vibe into this. If you have like a pre-mixed orange too, go for it. Yeah. Oh, perfect. That's good to know. Thanks for that tip, Kim. Okay. I'm noticing that I can still see a lot of my canvas in these areas, so I'm just going to go over it with my blue. So I don't want it to, I don't really want to be able to see some of it the way I can right now. So I'm just going to go on top. Just make it more opaque. Yes. Okay. Cool. I feel pretty happy with it. I mean, this is one of those things where I feel like you can keep going and going and going, and it can be quite fun to keep layering. And the more layer you do, the more depth you'll create. I don't know if I want to do that right now. Part of me kind of wants to, but I think I'm going to move on and do the water. I'm going to let this dry off a bit, and then I might go back in and touch it up with like my medium brush, just to like make this cloud a bit darker, and just to put in some more purposeful like darker lines and darker clouds in some lighter areas. That's what I think I'm going to do now. That is my plan. Okay, cool. So you can see my knee. That's great. Okay, you can see I'm sitting cross-legged. Let's see how much longer I'll be able to sit cross-legged on the floor and paint. Okay. I figure like if I don't ever stop doing it, then I'll always be able to. So, okay. I want to start blocking in the water, and that's what I'm going to do first. The water is essentially, where's my pencil? So you have like here is about more than halfway is where that perspective is. So you have this like piece of like land, or this barrier that's kind of coming, where is it? From like maybe like here, and it goes all the way to like here or so. So there's that perspective, right? So I'm not going to worry about that too much, but I do want to make sure I have my water, and it's going to go further than where this perspective, where that barrier is going to live. I feel like it's very angled. No, but it's about right. It is about right. Weird. Yeah, eyes play tricks on you sometimes, you know? You look at something and you're like, I don't think that's the way it should be. And then you're like, no, yeah, that is the way it should be. Okay. So I look at the water is like a red, purple, blue. See blue in the back here. I see purplish on this side here. I see a lot of like a red hue, reddish, purplish happening. And there's shadows. We're not worrying about the shadows yet because we haven't painted the bridge yet. We'll do that afterwards, right? So let's start with that. So I think what I'm going to start with, again with my big old paintbrush, is I'm going to put in this like bright blue that's sitting here, and we still have to put in our land and stuff, so we're not going to worry about that yet. So this bright blue is going to live like here, more or less. Okay, then we also have like a purple almost right away. So I'm putting in this blue, and I'm going to put red like right on top so I can create that purple vibe. Come back. Okay. And the rest is going to be mostly red. The red is also quite thin, but there's a little bit of like an orangey tinge to it, so I might have to put some yellow in there and see how it goes. Okay, let's just make this red right now, and then we'll darken it as I need. This red, like I said, is called bright red, and it's super bright. I would kind of prefer to have it, if I had a base red that was a little bit darker, more of a medium, I would prefer that. But we work with what we got. Okay, now I do want to darken it. I don't know. I want to darken it, but I still want it to be a bit more like orangey. I'm going to throw in yellow and see what happens. I kind of dulled it out a bit, even though it's still pretty darn bright. Going back and putting in more red. It's like really dark in here. I have to play with that afterwards. Just mixing that purple color again, so I'm putting that blue and I'm putting that red back down in this area. That's like very like blood red. I'm not sure about that. Maybe I'll just go with it for now, because we are going to darken it. I have to remember that. Hi, Deborah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely fun, and it's just jump in and have fun with it. That's what I always say. The first time you do it, or if you're still like practicing blending and stuff, it might turn out to be a big globby mess, but it's all right, because then the more you get comfortable with it and how it flows and how the paintbrush and how the paint kind of goes, it'll get better and better. I still feel weird, like with some of the blending, like especially here, like it's very choppy, and I'm not digging it that much. I think I want to wait till it dries a bit, and I'm going to touch it up a little bit more. While it's still wet, it can become very globby and not the greatest, so I'm going to wait a little bit more. I think now while I wait for this part, I'm going to jump back to the sky and I'm going to play a little bit up there. So I wanted to get this purple cloud a bit more opaque, so I'm going to mix my red and my blue to get that purple again. And I want to intentionally put in this cloud with a finer brush. I say intentionally because now I have more control over it, where when I'm using my larger brush, it ends up being a bit more sweeping, and then it's harder to get the brush to do what I want it to do, exactly what I want. That's better. I like it. And there's some dark clouds happening, so I'm going to pop them in. Just going with that dark purple. And just putting in some of those lines in, like what we see in the photo. Sound. Some more. These purpley kind of lines and clouds on top of here. Kim is asking if I teach at a school or a cottage. College, not cottage. No, I don't actually. I don't have formal instruction training at all. This literally started last year when I was laid off, and friends and family wanted stuff to do, and we were all bored, and I hadn't painted in a long time, and so I said, hey, like, would you guys want to paint with me? Like, I'm pretty sure I can, like, walk through some, like, my approach on things. And it snowballed from there, and then they told some of their friends, and then it was people I didn't know, and they were like, yeah, I want to join. And I was like, oh, that's weird if I'm going to just add all these random people as my Facebook friends. So I decided to make a group, and that's how this started. Funny, right? Funny how things happen. And now it's been a year and a half. And I've kept this going because it's fun. All right, I want to come back down here and like clean it up or something because I'm not digging it. Okay, so let's go. I'm going with a slightly like smaller brush instead of my big old fat brush. Doing a little bit of lightness in here, slightly. So it's getting a little bit of white. Just touching it a bit just to give it slight. Almost like kissing it a bit. Okay, so let's get some more of this purple. And we'll intentionally put this purple on here. That's a little better. Okay, so let's go and get this red. It kind of stops more like almost like a straight line. Strange, because water is more flowy, but I think I need to create that line and then blend it slightly. Yeah, that's working a little better. And again, I have to remember that this shadow's happening and we're not doing it yet. That's why it's not looking right yet. I'm just gonna put some more red. Just blend this out a little bit more. I'm just adding red paint on top of what I just did. My brush is still dirty and it's okay if some of that purple kicks in on this side because it will just look like little reflections and waves in the water. So I'm not too worried about that. Okay, I'm digging that more. And I'm going to, again, keep in mind that we are going to add more to that. I am saying it out loud because it helps me remember to. It is a bit lighter here as well, so I'm going to go and grab a little bit of white. I'm going to dab slightly this area. Using a little bit of water to blend out this white because I don't want it to remain bright white. I just saw that there was like a slight white, like a little lighter area there, and I wanted to capture it. I need some more of that purple though. Okay. Awesome. Oh, Kim's asking, have I painted most of my life then? Yeah, no, I used to paint when I was a teenager. Like I used to really enjoy painting, and I was in art class. I took like all the art classes available at my high school, and I was really into it. And I would love to paint from photos, and I used to do like some things like that, but never. Yeah, then I felt like I ended up getting into, you know, working and stuff, and then you just don't have time for it anymore. And took a back seat. So for a long time, I didn't touch it. But I've always been creative, and I love to I love things to look pretty, to be beautiful. All right, so I like it so far. So far, so good. Now I'm wondering if I want to start. I kind of want to put in that line in here. Oh yeah, the line's actually not like that. The line is like to here. I cut that across like that, like boom. That's cool. Kind of want to do that. But I also kind of want to put in my background city. Yeah, I think I want to do the city first. Let's do that first. I feel like my sky also needs a little bit more like lightness to it. Maybe I want to do that first, actually. Yes, let's do that first. Okay, so I'm going to go with white, and it's going to be a bit of a shock because everything's dry. So the white's going to go boom and stand up quite brightly. But it's okay. I do want it brighter like that, yeah. Go blue, and then just soften up some of these edges with the blue. Yeah, I think that's a little better. It's actually a street lamp. Isn't that funny? I thought it was like the moon, or was like the sun or something, like something happening, but no, it's like a street light. It's like a lamp post in the background. All right. Yes, I'm happier with those lighter, brighter white streaks there. Okay. So now I want to play with the skyline, and I want it to be black. I'm going to get my fine brush, wet it a bit, just so it gets to where I want it to be. Get our black paint. Okay. And we can really do this however your heart desires. I think I'm going to start by giving myself like a line, more or less, like the horizon. Okay, I'll make it a little thicker. Okay, and then, is that thick enough? No, I want it a little thicker than that, I think. I think so. Now, I do want to make this line pretty straight. And so what I'm going to do is I want to use some kind of guide, which I think for these purposes, I'm going to use my paper towel. It's not going to work. No, I don't like that idea. Started it off that way, and then I said, no. Maybe my Kleenex box. That might be better. Okay, I'm going to move this slightly. And then I'm going to line up my Kleenex box so I can actually get a more straight horizon line. Of course, you can always use, you know, like a ruler. I am going to do this. And actually, it would make more sense. Just use a pencil. Maybe that would work better, wouldn't it? Yes. Funny. Sometimes. Okay. There we go. Let's just do things the hard way. Why not? Right. Now, this is a bit... There we go. It's still a little bit uneven, isn't it? Maybe a ruler would have been the better option. Definitely perfect. Okay. Give me a moment. Let me eyeball it. So it should be up here. That's where I need it to be. Alright. That's better. That is where I want it to be. Yes. Okay. It's weird because, like, there's all the angles happening, but then also I'm looking at the screen as I do it, so it's throwing me off in terms of where everything should be. So my horizon line is up here. That is where we want it to be. I just want it to be a bit higher up. A two. I just want to give it a bit more bumpier land feel, and then we'll add little elements of buildings and other things sticking up if you want to. Otherwise, you can leave it more flat if you want to as well. Okay. All right, so now we're going to put in some little things that like pop out. Maybe little lines that are coming up. Make it look more like structures and stuff. So I'm just doing like little dabs in the background to give like little, like to make it look like little buildings and random stuff that's going on. And once that dries, I'm going to go in and put the little lights, like just put little like dots to get all the lights happening. That's what we'll do afterwards. Does it go straight across or does it angle upwards? So it actually, the horizon line should be straight across, straight right across, a straight line. It's weird because the movement of the angles in the sky, where the bridge is positioned, and this front piece of like a land messes with the perspective, but this line is straight across. Hi, Lizzie. Oh, I'm glad you like it. Well, you can definitely paint this anytime. The video will be up in the future, so you can definitely, if you want to join in another time, you could absolutely feel free to do so. Okay, so I'm going to, now that I have the horizon line and played with it a little bit more, I want to fill in some of the areas. So I definitely want this to have the blue come up right up to that. Okay, the black can come down a little bit further, it's fine. We definitely have some other stuff happening on the side. Okay, so I think now I want to put in this front land piece thing that's happening there. Okay, well, how do I want to do that? I don't know if I want, I'm not sure. My thin brush is good, but then it's not good at the same time. Now what do I want to do? Do I want that to be black? Not really. I want it to be like a really, yeah, it's kind of almost black, isn't it? I feel like black is just too dark. I don't know. I'm going to put a bit of black in my red. It's got like a really dark red happening, and then maybe make it into like a really dark purple. Yeah, I'm going to put a little bit of blue into that. Okay, I think I'm happier with that. It's still very dark, but it's a little bit lighter. Okay, so this, again, this line is going to go from, I think I might need to do it flat. So it has to be, the midpoint is here, so it's going to have to come like all the way down here to there. Okay, so I'm going to also, my trusty Kleenex box, and I want it to go from there to there. Is that where I want it to go? From there to there? No, I need to go further like that. From there to there. No, we need to use a pencil for this, and then we do it with paint. Okay, so I just did a pencil line from here to there to with the angle I want. Now I'm going to go in with my paintbrush and yes. Okay. And then the other, and then that line comes, boom, like almost straight. It almost like it goes to like a point. Yeah, it does. Okay, so again, with my trusty Kleenex books, same thing. I'm going to make a straight line down. There we go. So that's this perspective of this barrier to the water. And that's what's going to create all the depth in this. Just gonna block this in. All right. Boom. Cool. Okay. Now, looking at our inspiration image, I'm trying to understand. And there's actually another line here too. Okay. So, it's kind of like rocky and greenery and some weirdness. And there's the background. And then that's where the lamppost is coming from. Okay, there's lots of fun stuff happening here. Let me just go back. I just got rid of the picture for a moment. There we go. Okay, so I think I'm going to play a little bit with what's happening in this side here while that dries, and then we'll put in some details on that. Yes, that's what we're going to do. Actually, it's kind of, is it actually straight? That line looks a bit more angular. You know what, I'm not going to worry about that yet. I want to put in all this background stuff happening. Okay, so first of all, I see that this darkness kind of comes out more down, so I'm going to put that in. So let's just pop in with black. This kind of comes down more on an angle. Cool. Okay. And then I'm seeing there is some more dark areas in here. Right now I'm just going to call it color block. I don't know. I'm just looking at our inspiration image and I'm just trying to copy it basically. What's happening? So there's some, I see some different dark areas in certain spots. And then I see some like blues down here. I need more blue. And then we need to get, I think I have some pre-mixed greens, so I'm going to play with that. Just make it a little bit easier. Ooh, it's already 7. All right, it might take us 2 hours after all. So I'm just going to put in this green, some little bit of green. Mix it back and forth with this black. I'm just looking at the inspiration and just trying to mimic it as best as I can. See, there's some blue areas and some green. just to get that. And there's a little bit of white happening, a little bit like lighter areas, some areas here. Cool. So I have some variations happening there. Put some yellow as well. I want a little bit of red too. A little bit orangey here, so I'm just putting a bit of that. I'm seeing a little bit of this orangey kind of color. Little smattering. And that's more of a red black. Okay. Now this comes out slightly more than I had done initially. So it's not like a fully straight line. It actually comes out slightly angled. Ooh, like that. That's still pretty straight. Okay, come here. More like that. Okay, and then it comes out like that. Okay, so I need to, so there's like two blocks of color. This is slightly reddish black on this side, and the other side is slightly darker. Okay, getting a weird paint's lifting because it's pulling the paint from below up. That's alright, we can make that work. That's curving. I see. This needs to come out more like this. That's what needs to happen. Okay, that's better. Okay, so that's slightly lighter on this one than that one, like slightly. I'm gonna make it a little bit more so. How? Let's see. So I see that there's like a line about here. It's kind of lighter here. It's going to bring in some lightness. them down a little bit. Put a bit of a highlight on this side, slightly, while it's still wet. Okay, just a little bit lighter. Okay, so we have that happening. Good, good, good. All right, so now we want to put in our bridge. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so what I want to start with is I want to actually start with the actual structure itself. So when I see the main part of the bridge, that line right there, it goes from about like here to about here down. So that's what I'm going to start with. So again, if you have an actual ruler, this is ideally one that's the whole length of what you're trying to do, that would be better. But I don't. So I am using my trusty Kleenex box to give me my guideline. And ideally you put it on a flat surface. Your legs are probably not the best place to do this. But I am a rebel. Or something like that. Alright, cool. So you can't see anything from there. But I have a pencil line that I've drawn from here. You can kind of see it, and it comes down all the way to there. You can kind of see it, yeah. There you go. You got a little bit of a line there. Okay. So that's where my bridge is going to be. That's what this line here is that line there. Okay, so I'm going to put in that in black to start. Okay, so I'm going to get my medium brush, and I'm going to put in the bridge line. Okay, and this is thick, you know. There's a slight like curve in it too, right? It seems to be like a slight curve. I like. Okay, and then this too kind of comes down, and then it Alright, so that has the curve thing, and we're going to put some legs. I'm going to call the bridge legs. Yeah, sure, why not? Okay, so like here we have one. Okay. I kind of want to fix that up again, but I'm not going to just yet. And then we're going to put another one like here. Okay. Kind of digging that thickness of it, and that's good. Okay, cool. That's fine. Okay. Next up, let's go to the other side. Okay, so they're thicker, they're fatter. That's pretty fat, that one over there, right? That's where this part here, so I'm going to put this like that. Kind of chunky like that, maybe. Right? So we're a little bit fatter than the other side. Looks alright. Okay. And then we have another one kind of like here. Okay. And then we have another chunky monkey one over here. Okay, so and then I see that there is a line kind of like this. Kind of like that a bit. Okay, and then here it does kind of do that too, but you don't really see much of what's happening. Off to the side. Cool. Okay. And then what?
Okay, so we have the structure happening, which is cool. And then we have more, we gotta put the actual bridge, like the curvature of it and whatnot. And this is where we're going to have fun with it. And I'm not gonna focus on doing it exactly the way this has with all of the details, but I'm gonna capture the vibe of it. So with my brush, I see that it's about here. Okay, and I'm gonna switch brush because this one did not give me as nice of a line as I wanted it to. So I'm gonna go back to my more fine point brush. How can I do this? Maybe I can go like that for a little bit. And I'm just gonna touch up this line. Oh my. Alright, so there's my curvature line. Okay. And I see there's another one that follows it almost exactly. Oof, these lines do not look very good. Okay, so there's another one that comes. another one that comes here. I don't know about this. These lines, I feel like I'm ruining the painting right now. I'm going to keep going and see what happens. Sometimes as you keep going, it turns out alright. Sometimes it won't. We shall see how it goes. I think I do need to continue putting in some of the lines in here. That's what it comes down to. Okay. So let's start that as well. And there seems to be like one line like that. And then there's there's another one that's going to come down. It goes that way. And one ends there. Okay, and then we have one that comes down all the way. And then where did they end? It actually comes quite close. Like that. And then it comes down like that. Okay. Alright, lots of things going on here. Still more needs to be. It's like a very weird bridge, but you know what? It's all good. I'm gonna go with it. Okay. Now there are some other ones that crisscross even more so. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm happier with that now. See, as you saw, I wasn't happy with it at first, and then I just kind of kept going, and then that's better. It has the vibe. It still feels like it. It has the. It's not perfect, and that's okay, because if we want it to be perfect, we would go and we would buy a print of this photo, and we would be like, okay, there we go. But that's not the point of this, right? The point is to create something that captures the image in a unique way. There's some more happening here. What are we doing here? There's like a line here. And there's also a line. Okay, that's cool. Okay, now I want to put in some of those lamps. So we have one lamp sticking out like here, another one here, another one here, another one here. Okay, that's cool. So I'll put some lights on the ends of those in a moment or two. Okay, and then we have a lamp post. Ooh, I didn't really leave much room for that, did I? Dun dun dun! Okay. Maybe we're gonna have it sticking out back here, perhaps. Okay, that works. Okay. Yes. Okay. So we have that going, and then we have to put in our lights and the shadows on the water still. Oh yeah, I'm happy with this. I wasn't sure for a moment or two there. I was like, oof, I don't know. Okay, so let's put in our shadow. So we have a bit of a shadow happening. And I'm just using water with the black to create the shadow. In the water. I know there's another one here. Okay. That's better. Okay. I'm just gonna put a little more black in some of these areas because it's still showing too red. Okay, how is it? Not bad, okay. We're at 7:44, not too shabby. All right, that's better for the water. Okay. Some of it's a little too harsh. That works. Okay, so I want to also put on the bright lights. Bright lights. Okay, so let's get white. And we'll get some yellow too, I think. But let's use the white first. So here, I'm going to put the light. A little bit of yellow. here. So I'm gonna put like a little dot. And yellow, and add yellow to each of them. And I'm just going to kind of put like little lines coming out of them. And then just almost like a circle around them. Just to touch it lightly with to create a bit of a glow. I'm going to do a bit of water just to soften it, and there's like little lights that we see here as well. So why don't we put some little okay. And I didn't even put in the little like dots in the city. Let's do that before we forget. Alright. Okay, doke. So there's like little Alright. There we go. So that, I would say, is the end of today's session. Yay! There's the completed painting from our inspiration photo from Michael Lyons, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It's super bright. It's fun. The sky was really fun to do. I was very nervous on the bridge, and then as I continued going through it, adding more and more lines, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I am really happy. Thank you for everyone who joined today, and anyone who's joining at a future date. If you had fun and you painted along, please snap a picture of your painting and share it with me. And I will do the same. I'll put a post with this picture as well, so you can see it there. And again on Saturday, there'll be 3 more options for you to vote on, and then we'll paint again next Wednesday night. All right, have a fantastic rest of your week. Take care, everyone. Bye, paint partiers. See you later.